The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The Business News Headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Awards domination, regional resilience, and $1 billion streaming shakeup. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, December 5, 2025. I'm Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast locally, Grace Kennedy dominates main market. Lasco tops Junior at JSE Best Practices Awards. On the regional front, IDB approves US $80 million to boost the Bahamas road resilience. And over on the global stage, Netflix moves to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in a US $72 billion mega deal. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with the JSE's Best Practices Awards. Jamaica's capital market took center stage on Wednesday as the Jamaica Stock Exchange JSE rolled out the red carpet for the 2025 Best Practices Awards, honoring the listed companies and member dealers that delivered the strongest governance, disclosure, and investor engagement throughout 2024. The JSE Best Practices Awards is more than a ceremony. It is the country's annual scorecard on how well companies and dealers communicate, comply, and compete. And this year, the standards were higher, the scrutiny sharper, and the wins more meaningful. JSE Chief Executive Officer Livingston Morrison used the 21st staging of the awards to send a clear message. He says strong governance and credible corporate reporting are now central to restoring and sustaining market confidence, especially as Jamaica pushes through post-Melissa recovery.
These awards, ladies and gentlemen, are perfectly aligned to the purpose of the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group, which is to operate efficient and viable markets that support the capital mobilization, growth, and wealth management objectives of our stakeholders. In this context, the constant flow of credible information about the plans, the programs, and financial performance and prospects of companies is critical to market efficiency imperatives. Through participation in these awards, our listed companies and member dealers signal their commitment to international standards, especially in leadership, governance, and stakeholder relations.
In underscoring why the Best Practices Awards matter to the capital market, the JSE CEO pointed to the long-term improvements in governance and disclosure across the exchange.
The evolution of these awards over the past 20 years is a source of great value as a vehicle for showcasing the standards to which we are all committed. Of even greater significance is the fact that your work is of tremendous value in our efforts to improve investor confidence in the markets that we operate.
That was CEO of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Livingston Morrison. We move now to some of the standout performances coming out of the JSE's Best Practices Awards. Grace Kennedy Limited stole the show Wednesday night, dominating the main market and reaffirming its status as one of the country's most disciplined and well-governed corporate powerhouses. The ceremony delivered its highest accolade to the conglomerate, with the company capturing the Governor General's Award for Excellence, the top prize reserved for main market companies. The group also secured the Corporate Disclosure and Investor Relations and the Annual Report Awards on the main market. It then added the JSE PSOJ Corporate Governance Award, a title that signals the kind of long-term management discipline investors prize. To cap off the night, Grace Kennedy finished as first runner-up for the Main Markets Website Award. Speaking with CBX News at the event, Grace Kennedy Financial Group's CEO, Stephen Whittingham, says the night's wins reflect a deep culture of governance.
It is a testament to the work that the team at Grace Kennedy does. I'm very proud of them. We take corporate governance very seriously, and best practices, the whole process by which the exchange goes about evaluating companies, helping us go through and develop ways to communicate with the investing community, and we try to just do our best, and I think it's been going very well.
He says the night's victories also spotlight the legacy of a former group CEO, Don Webby.
Also, you can't forget that the CEO of the inaugural CEO of the Year Award went to our former CEO, Don Webby, who I think is well deserving of the award. A couple of years ago, Don was CEO of the Grace Kennedy Group. They won the overall award. Second was Key Insurance for the corporate governance, and so, you know, he has just had a track record. So it's been a wonderful evening for Grace Kennedy.
That was CEO of Grace Kennedy Financial Group, Stephen Whittingham. And Lasco Financial Services lit up the junior market at the JSE Best Practices Awards, emerging as the top-performing small-cap company recognized for excellence in 2024. The financial services firm took home the coveted Junior Market Overall Winner Award, the top honor given to the company that demonstrates outstanding performance in governance, transparency, investor engagement, and overall reporting discipline. Lasco's strong showing continued in the digital arena, where it tied with One-on-One Educational Services Limited for the Junior Market Website Award. Senior Brand Marketing Officer at Lasco, Samantha Fuller-Mirage, told CBX News that winning these awards represents a proud moment for the company.
We feel great. We feel great. We feel wonderful. I mean, we came to collect, and we did, and we're excited. You hear what was happening in the space, so it was great.
That was Senior Brand Marketing Manager at Lasco Financial Services, Samantha Fuller-Mirage. Meanwhile, Lasco's Marketing Manager Danielle Drisdale says the award ceremony signals Jamaica's push for stronger accountability and higher financial sector standards.
At Lasco Financial Services, we pride ourselves in making sure that we deliver world-class service, and as a result of that, our customers keep coming back, and we get to serve our shareholders and all the relevant persons who make the business what it is. For Jamaica, accountability and transparency is a very big thing, especially in the financial sector. Of course, you know, pardon me, in terms of our ratings and so on, we are working towards improving, and the companies that are here tonight is attestation to the fact that we can do it, we can improve, and we are improving to make things much better as far as accountability and standards are concerned.
That was Lasco Financial Services Marketing Manager Daniel Drisdale. In other news, Fitch is warning that Jamaica's inflation outlook has become significantly riskier after Hurricane Melissa, with food prices expected to grow by more than 10% over the next year. In its December 3 report, the agency says the Bank of Jamaica is likely to hold the policy rate at 5.75% through 2025 and into mid-2026, relying instead on foreign exchange interventions to steady the dollar and limit imported inflation. Fitch notes that real interest rates will turn negative, but the BOJ's credible inflation targeting framework gives it room to manage the supply shock. However, it warns that inflation risks are skewed sharply upward and that global commodity swings or prolonged hurricane damage could force the BOJ to delay cuts or even raise rates to contain price pressures. We go now to updates from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In Friday's currency trading session, the US dollar is selling for $161.21, the Canadian for $116.21, the pound sterling for $214.77, while $190.44 is the going rate for the euro. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Friday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 102 stocks, of which 43 advanced, 42 declined, and 17 traded firm. Leading the winners are Kintyre Holdings JA, Productive Business Solution USD Ordinary Shares, One-on-One Educational Services, and Cargo Handlers. While leading the losers are Jamaica Public Service Company 7%, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy USD, Blue Power Group, and ISP Finance Services. The main index declined by 1,151.15 points, or 0.37%, to close at 313,597.07 points. The junior market index advanced by 13.57 points, or 0.41%, to close at 3,296.71 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
In today's Market Education Feature, we're talking about currency. Currency is a widely accepted medium of exchange used to buy and sell goods and services. It evolved from early barter systems to the coins, banknotes, and digital forms, including cryptocurrencies that we use today. Each nation issues its own currency, and values fluctuate relative to one another. Some countries also choose to peg their currency to the US dollar. Although currencies have existed for more than 3,000 years, modern money has no intrinsic value. Today's bills are fiat money, meaning they are issued by governments and not backed by precious metals. In ancient times, however, coins used in trade were made from materials like gold, silver, and bronze.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CariCris, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
We get it! We get the big contract! 50,000 units a month for 3 years! Great! Oh, need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. The Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, has approved a US $80 million loan for the Bahamas to strengthen transport infrastructure and reduce the persistent economic fallout from flooding in New Providence. The financing will support a global multiple works program focused on building climate-resilient roadways through enhanced drainage systems, improved stormwater management, and more efficient road maintenance practices. At the heart of the project is the need to curb the recurrent flooding that renders major thoroughfares impassable, slows commerce, restricts access to essential services, and accelerates road deterioration. The intervention, aligned with the IDB Group's One Caribbean framework and its Ready and Resilient America's Disaster Risk Program, aims to strengthen mobility for more than 296,000 residents, along with the influx of tourists who rely on New Providence's transport network. The wider Bahamian population will benefit indirectly from gains in productivity and better targeted public spending on road upkeep. The project also includes support for the Ministry of Works and Family Islands Affairs to modernize its asset management system, update standards for road construction and drainage, and integrate universal accessibility across key corridors. The loan carries a 25-year repayment term, a 5.5-year grace period, and interest pegged to SOFR. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' election machinery is facing renewed scrutiny after CARICOM's observation mission reported a cluster of administrative weaknesses that stakeholders believe could undermine confidence in future polls. While most groups acknowledged that the electoral office appeared broadly prepared for the November 27 vote, CARICOM's Chief of Election Mission, Sais Gunraj, says concerns were raised about the training and deployment of election day staff.
While most stakeholders expressed confidence about the preparedness of the electoral office to conduct the elections, issues such as inadequate training for and bias in the appointment of electoral officials were highlighted. Concerns were also raised about accommodation for differently abled persons, the voters list and the registration process. The manner in which the voters list was compiled, particularly the conduct of the 15-day special registration exercise, was a recurrent complaint. Stakeholders also commented on the manner and timeliness of the distribution of the said list to candidates.
That was CARICOM's Chief of Mission, Sais Gunraj. In other news, Suriname has taken a landmark step towards building a future-ready energy workforce with the launch of EnergyJobs.SR, the country's first transparent recruitment portal dedicated to the oil, gas, and wider energy sector. The platform, developed by Total Energies EP, Suriname BV, in partnership with global workforce solutions firm AirSwift, went live on Thursday, November 27, 2025, creating a single national gateway that links Surinamese talent to real opportunities in a rapidly evolving industry. At launch, the portal already features 437 identified roles with 142 vacancies open for application, reflecting hiring needs across 7 major companies, including Total Energies, Statoil, SBM Offshore, Halliburton, One Subsea, Weatherford, and CCC Group. More companies are expected to join as sector activity expands. Meanwhile, government and industry leaders hailed the initiative as a pivotal step in strengthening local content. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 21 securities, of which 8 advanced, 4 declined, and 9 traded firm. Today's winners are National Enterprises, JMMB Group, Trinidad Cement, and Angostura Holdings, while leading the losers are A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, Republic Financial Holdings, First Citizens Group Financial Holdings, and Massey Holdings. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 4.21 points to close at 1,354.04. The Composite Index declined by 1.18 points to close at 941.06. The Cross-Listed Index advanced by 0.30 points to close at 69.86. The SME Index remained at 94.31. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
How may I assist you today?
I want to open an account for me and my son.
That's great. Let me see your documents. I understand you want to know about our savings account. Let me show you a few accounts and the benefits of each account.
Why do you need so many documents from my mommy?
It's called KYC, Know Your Customer. This helps us to protect you and treat you right. Thanks for the documents. Take a look at this brochure. Let's discuss savings accounts. A savings account is an interest-bearing deposit account. Customers with savings deposit accounts are covered up to $1.2 million per ban, so you don't have anything to worry about.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
Welcome back. In international news, Netflix has agreed to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery for $72 billion, a blockbuster takeover that would hand the streaming giant control of one of Hollywood's most valuable and historic studios. The move marks a dramatic shift for Netflix, long seen as the industry disruptor, as it becomes a full-fledged studio owner. The deal gives Netflix command of global franchises, including Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and DC Comics, while also folding HBO Max into its ecosystem. But the merger is expected to face intense antitrust scrutiny in the US and Europe, with critics warning it could reduce competition and harm cinemas. Under the cash and stock agreement, Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders will receive $27.75 per share, valuing the company at $82.7 billion, including debt. Netflix expects $2 to $3 billion in annual cost savings by year 3. And as Netflix moves deeper into Hollywood power territory, another Musk-led company is receiving a major regulatory blow in Europe. The European Union has fined X, Elon Musk's social media platform, €120 million for violating the Digital Services Act, marking the first penalty under the sweeping new online content law. Investigators found X misled users with its blue check redesign, failed to maintain a transparent ad repository, and restricted researcher access to public data. Musk reacted to the post under the Commission's announcement, while the US government slammed the decision as anti-American. EU officials rejected that claim, saying the DSA enforces conduct, not nationality. X now has 60 to 90 working days to fix the violations or face larger penalties, potentially up to 6% of global revenue. Meanwhile, probes into X's handling of illegal content and algorithmic manipulation continues. From social media controversy, we move to the commercial space race, where SpaceX may soon make one of the biggest market debuts in history. SpaceX has privately informed investors that it aims to pursue an IPO in the second half of 2026, according to multiple reports. The offering would include the entire company, not just its Starlink division, marking a potential watershed moment for global capital markets. The news comes as SpaceX prepares a secondary share sale valuing the firm at up to $800 billion, which would make it the most valuable private company in the world, surpassing OpenAI's $500 billion valuation. A separate Bloomberg estimate put the implied valuation closer to $560 billion, depending on final pricing. If listed, SpaceX could become one of the largest IPOs in history, propelled by demand for reusable rockets, satellite broadband, and the accelerating U.S. commercial space race. And finally, to the sovereign debt markets, where Ukraine is pushing ahead with a key restructuring effort. Ukraine's latest proposal to swap $2.6 billion in GDP-linked warrants for new C bonds is significantly more appealing than previous offers and likely to win widespread support, Citi said Friday. The bonds would offer 15 points more recovery value and stronger downside protection than earlier terms. Ukraine launched the swap this week as part of efforts to exit its wartime default. A key creditor group says progress has been made, but important issues still remain. GDP warrants issued in the 2015 restructuring could cost Ukraine as much as $6 billion in a post-war recovery. Kyiv is offering the new bonds plus up to $180 million in cash if creditors approve swiftly. Warrants traded flat at 100.63 points after an initial rally earlier in the week. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break. And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Grace Kennedy dominates main market. Lasco tops Junior at the JSE Best Practices Awards. Regionally, IDB approves US $80 million to boost the Bahamas road resilience. And internationally, Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery in $72 billion mega deal. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rachelle Moncrief. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Hi, I'm Melanie